St. Patrick's Day is almost here, and if you are a whiskey drinker, you should be looking out for some good Irish whiskey to have this week. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and this week I'm going to be telling you about 5 different Irish whiskies you can enjoy this St. Patrick's Day. We're going to have something classic, we're going to have something that's a bit of an upgrade, something that is fantastic value, something that's a bit overlooked, and something that's very hard to find but very worth the hunt. So let's get right into it with our first whiskey. Jameson. You knew it was going to be Jameson. When people think Irish whiskey, especially on St. Patrick's Day, you can't help but imagine this. It is a green bottle. It's a classic, very, very familiar Irish whiskey. Most people will have had this either as shots, in mixed drinks, or just by itself. It's one of those ubiquitous Irish whiskeys that if you think Irish whiskey, chances are the first picture that comes to mind will be this distinctive bottle right here. But they don't just have the standard Jameson in their lineup. If you want to see a video where Rose and I went through all the basic kind of standard edition bottlings of Jameson, I'll put a picture of that up there. There'll be a link down below as well. That was a really great video where we actually tried the standard Jameson, the cask mates, all the way up to some like really nice kind of like almost cask strength offerings, and it was really good, really fun to see the kind of progression of the Jameson lineup. It's a very, very widely available lineup. No matter where you are in the world, you should be able to at least find some kind of Jameson. So if you're looking for something, you can always get the classic Jameson, but if you're looking for another widely available bottle, check out that video and see what you think. And next up, we're going to have a whiskey that I said is going to be an upgrade. It's definitely going to be one of those whiskeys that's obviously going to be better than Jameson. And if you're looking at lists of Irish whiskey, if you're looking for recommendations of good Irish whiskey to try, you're going to hear about this one, Green Spot. It's actually made by the same distillery as the Jameson whiskey. It's made by the Middleton distillery, but it's kind of a different brand, it's a different line. This is a single pot still whiskey, which is a style of whiskey unique to Ireland. It's made of malted barley and unmalted barley, so it has this really nice kind of rich, peppery kind of spice, but also some really nice sweetness, some biscuity notes. This one here was aged in bourbon casks and sherry casks, so it also has a really nice bit of fruitiness to it. It does come in at 40%, but because of pot still whiskey, it has a kind of oily character. It actually has a really big wide amount of flavor, and it does deliver a lot of flavor despite being at 40%. It's also, generally speaking, pretty widely available. If you're looking at a bottle shop or a whiskey shop, if they're going to have anything above like bottom shelf simple whiskies, chances are you'll be able to find this. In Ireland, in pretty much any grocery store, you'll be able to find a bottle of Green Spot, so it is pretty widely available, and it's definitely a bit of an upgrade if you want to go for an Irish whiskey, but something that's a bit better. If you want to see like what good Irish whiskey is capable of, this is kind of like the starting point of where you want to go if you want to get that distinctive Irish pot still whiskey. Next up, it is something that is fantastic value. It's a relatively new distillery in Ireland. Now I say relatively new because there's a load of new distilleries in Ireland, but this one has been around for about 10 years. Dingle. This is specifically their single malt Irish whiskey. So it's different to the Green Spot in that the Green Spot's a single pot still. This is 100% malted barley. It has this really nice rich caramel flavouring to it, and I honestly think this is one of the best value Irish whiskies on the market today. Has a huge amount of sherry influence, a bit of bourbon influence to it, and just a really nice flavour. Like they have, if you've been watching my channel, they have this kind of Wheel of the Year series where they're doing single malts finished in different styles, like wine barrels or different kind of like funky different rye whiskey barrels, just to kind of give different flavors to their single malt. But honestly, their core range, this is available pretty much anywhere. This is their core product, single malt, and it is a fantastic whiskey. It's really, really nice. Again, it's one of those ones that should be widely available, maybe not as available as that Green Spot, but they are increasing their production, they are increasing their distribution around the world. And if you can find it, this is a fantastic value whiskey. I think it retails actually cheaper than the Green Spot, and it comes in at, I believe, 46.3%, so it isn't down at that 40% floor. It is actually up above 46%, and it has a huge amount of flavour, and it's just a really, really great whiskey. Next up, it's one that I said was going to be a little bit overlooked, and it's a brand that's been around for a very long time, Ryder's Tears. This is one that a lot of people will have heard of. They'll have tried it out maybe once or twice, and then sometimes they forget about it because it is a blended whiskey. Now, it's not a blend of like malt and grain or single pot still and grain. It's a blend of malted whiskey and single pot still. So it's the two like good styles of whiskey blended together. It's often overlooked though. Ryder Sears have a few whiskies in their lineup. They've got, like we reviewed some here on the channel, they've got ones that were finished in ice wine cask and Japanese Mizunara oak casks. And last year at the Irish Whiskey Awards, they won, I think, the best blended whiskey and then the second best blended whiskey for those ice wine and the Mizunara casks, because they're very good. They know what they're doing. It's one of those brands that I think can get overlooked. Very widely distributed. It's now, I think it's owned by the Amber Beverage Group, so it does have a wider distribution, has a wider range. Great little whiskey, always one I keep on my shelf. Like when I finish this bottle, I'll get another one because it's just one of those whiskeys that you can just enjoy it. It's very easy to enjoy. Have a bottle on your shelf. It does come in at 40%, so it is down at that floor. So if you're looking for something a bit punchier, maybe this isn't the one for you. But like I said, that's why this one can sometimes be overlooked, because it's easy to go, oh well, I've got a pot still, I've got a malt, what do I need that for? This is just a really nice blend. If you see it and you haven't tried it, it's worth giving it a try just to see what they're up to. Before I give my final whiskey here, I'm going to give a quick little honourable mention, a little shout out, because on St. Patrick's Day, chances are you might go out to a parade, you might be out and about, and you might see whiskies, you might need whiskies like this. These are the Dram in a Can from Two Stacks. This is their single malt one. This is a special edition one that was aged in raspberry brandy casks. I'll put a picture, they've got a whole range of them now. They even got like an Irish cream in a can like this, so it is a solid little idea. You can have 100 ml of whiskey that's coming in at 86 proof or 43% alcohol by volume. Fits in your pocket. This special edition one is coming in at 63% alcohol, so 126 proof. Very nice, very full flavor, just something that's a bit fun, a bit like, I wouldn't say you'd necessarily need to go out and hunt this, but if you're walking around, this is something you can just put into your pocket and you're walking around with it. And it's a simple enough whiskey, you can have it on the go, you can bring it somewhere wherever you're going. Just quick little honourable mention. And lastly, it is going to be a whiskey that is going to be very hard to find, especially even if you're in Ireland, even if you are down the road from this distillery, it's very hard to find their bottles, but if you can, it's worth the hunt. Culloden. This is their, as you can see, I'm coming to the end of it, this is their Baron Tool whiskey. This is something that they're doing, it's like every whiskey from this range is completely different. They're all single cask editions. They do give you, in the box, they give you like the, the mash bill here. They tell you how it was fermented, how it was distilled, how full the stills were when they were distilling. So you get a lot of information. There's also more information on the back. And they're, generally speaking, fantastic whiskies. This one here was a peated whiskey that was aged in port casks. My favorite whiskey of 2023. Unfortunately, it will soon be gone. I might save myself a little small bottle, but just so I have something maybe in the future to compare against different releases from them. Culloden are doing more and more single releases. I think they have some releases that are only in America, like they're exclusive to America, you can't get them in Ireland. And they've got some releases that are exclusive to other European countries. So they are trying to kind of broaden their range, broaden their distribution. If you can get something from them in this Baron Tool range, if you're an Irish whiskey fan, or if someone in your life is an Irish whiskey fan, this St. Patrick's Day, if you were to break out a bottle of this, they'd be very happy. So it is something that takes a bit of a hunt, takes a bit of effort to find, but if you can find it, definitely worth it. So there you have it, my choices for 5 or maybe 6 or maybe 7 Irish whiskey that you could try to find this St. Patrick's Day, from the classic Jameson right the way through to the very hard to find but very, very tasty Culloden whiskey releases. But if you have a different Irish whiskey that you'll be drinking this St. Patrick's Day, or you've got any suggestions for other whiskies people should hunt, let me know down in the comments below. I put out whiskey reviews on Wednesdays, I put out cocktail recipes on Fridays, and every now and then I put out videos like this on Mondays. So if you want to see more, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Sláinte.